It's always good to listen to our friends. Sometimes the more they argue in favor of the soup, the more convinced you become that the only real choice is the salad. When I was 19, I developed what can only be called an obsession. Every bone and sinew in my beautiful young body was screaming, "Go to Europe! Go to Europe now!" Two of my friends had taken off a few months earlier and were now enjoying places and adventures unknown. This was a kind of elopement for them. Our group felt seriously depleted without their presence, and another of our friends had already been to Europe, and he was regaling us endlessly with exciting madcap stories. I could barely stand to be at university for another minute. I felt imprisoned in hallways and classrooms and boredom. Relief came in the form of beer, sex, writing, and acting on stages. Not a bad combo for a young man, I realize, but still. Spain, France, Scotland, we spent so much of our time in the school cafeterias telling jokes and enthusing about our favorite writers. Bill was an expert on Hemingway, Bobby was the authority on Faulkner, Nick wrote all his papers on Proust and the French symbolist poets. I was a Joyce, Beckett, and Henry Miller freak. How could chemistry and mathematics compete with this? Over the years, I drifted far apart from my childhood friend, Sid. He was still smart, still handsome, still funny, but he was also proving to be cheap and kind of thoughtless, and he was a quasi-scientist who liked to run rats through mazes and think of himself as some kind of burgeoning psychologist. Now, as I was not only plotting my escape to Europe, but actively checking out travel options and figuring out how to round up my money and see if there's anyone who wanted to go with me, now I was sitting in Sid's car very late at night, listening to him lecture me about what a bad idea this was. "You know, David, I understand your desire to run off and have a grand adventure, but this would be terribly irresponsible. You're in the middle of a very good university career, and your family has high expectations of you, and there are a lot of pretty good local opportunities coming up right here. Well, you know, Europe's not going anywhere. You can always go a few years from now. It'll still be there." Well, it was a beautiful experience. The more Sid talked, the more my plans became cemented. Less than 3 weeks later, my buddy Stan and I walked up the gangplank on Pier 84 in New York Harbor and boarded the great Italian ocean liner, the Cristoforo Colombo. Next stop, Gibraltar. Pickle, always listen to your friends, especially when they're flat wrong.